I hold here in my formerly nicotine-stained fingers a copy of Corn Chips by Mather Schneider. This is his latest book. It's his novel. This is a 1980s Gen X novel. Main character, 14-year-old Babe Lidbetter, moves from rural Arkansas to small-town Illinois. Glassford, Illinois is where it is. When Babe, first thing you know, whenever he tells somebody his name, what do they say? What are you thinking? What's he named after? He's named after either Babe Ruth or Paul Bunyan's ox. No, it's not. He had an uncle named Babe in the war, so he's got to explain that when he introduces himself to people. When he gets to Glassford, so he's got a burn mark on his face. He was caught in a house fire when he was a little kid. So right away he's going to a new high school, burn mark on his face. He's going to be a misfit. And he meets a kid there at his new high school in Glassford. Aaron is the guy's name. Aaron Glassford, as it happens to be. So they hit it off. They're both misfits. Aaron's like a little runt, and Matt's got this burned face. And soon right after they move to Glassford, Babe's parents break up. And his mom is something like not a drunk, but an afternoon wine sipper. And this is kind of like how his relationship with his mom is while his dad's gone. When my mother was drinking wine, she sometimes told me I could be whatever I wanted when I grew up, that the world was full of opportunity and I could make my dreams come true. But I knew she didn't really believe shit like that. That's kind of the cavalier relationship he has with his mom. Corn Chips, kind of a weird title for a book, and keep waiting as I'm reading along. Where's the Fritos going to come in? No, not Fritos. After Babe gets his driver's license, him and Aaron go drive to Peoria. They want to get the hell out of this small town, podunk Glassford, and go to Peoria and see the scenes. And so they see a bunch of goths, punk rockers hanging out down there in Peoria. So they stop the car and get out and just kind of hang around out at the edges. And here comes down the street a pickup truck. Mullet head guys in it, shotgun in the back window rack, and they throw a whiskey bottle at the punk rockers and they shout, "You faggot, Corn Chips," and then they drive away. So Corn Chips, I've never heard that name as a slur before. This dude's making stuff up, Corn Chips. Never heard of that. So what I do, I run to Google whenever I see something like that in a book, and guess what? Up in the Google search came a blog from a woman who grew up in Peoria, Illinois back in the 80s. And it turns out goth rockers were called Corn Chips back then. It was a local, little phenomenon in Peoria, Illinois, apparently only. So how did it come about? Here's what we learn here. One of the girls comes over to Aaron and Babe, asking, "Well, what are y'all doing here?" They say, "Well, we're just hanging out." And she explains when they ask her, "What's this dude yelling Corn Chips about?" "It's stupid," she said. "Some redneck kid in Peoria High was sitting in the school cafeteria eating a bag of corn chips, and he pulled one out that was black and twisted up. He said it was like us, a mutant corn chip. The name stuck. Now they all call us that, usually right before they try to beat us up." So they, Aaron and Babe, decide they want to become Corn Chips. And Babe gets his hair cut Corn Chip style, the bangs hanging down in your face. And he wants to go show Aaron his new haircut. Drives to the storage facility. Aaron's dad owns a storage facility where Aaron works on Saturdays. And it looks like the storage facility's closed. So he walks around and he hears noise from a television set in one of the very back units. That's kind of odd. You're supposed to be living in the storage units, right? So he knocks on the storage unit. "Aaron, you in there?" And the TV gets cut off and he goes, "Shut the fuck up." And he wonders what the hell's going on. He sees a guy comes out, rolls the door up and then rolls it back down, bangs on the door, says again, "Shut the fuck up." And kind of freaks Babe out, so he gets in his car and he leaves. Now the thing about Babe and Aaron, Babe is a intuitive, sensitive kind of guy. He knows something's wrong with his little friend Aaron. And so now he's wondering what's going on at this storage facility. Was Aaron in there? What's going on? We don't get an answer to that. So anyway, what happens? This high school kids, Babe and Cinnamon, their boyfriend, girlfriend. Let's describe Cinnamon as promiscuous, to put it politely. So one day, Babe notices he's got crabs. What he does is, he doesn't want to tell nobody. He goes to the drugstore and gets a head lice bottle to try to get rid of it. Anyway, so next time he goes to meet Cinnamon's sitting at the restaurant booth looking all mean, mad, whatever. He sits down and she says, "You gave me crabs." And he goes, "No, you gave me crabs." So they don't know where they got the crabs. They're blaming each other. And so what happens is, high school kids, they break up, and spoiler alert, plug your ears, they of course get back together later. But in the meantime, Babe meets the girl at the park where he works as a groundskeeper, a girl named Darla. She works in the hot dog stand. So while Babe is a sensitive kind of guy, trying to understand his friend Aaron, kind of a pig when it comes to girls. Here's what he says about Darla. "She had the best body I'd ever seen. She looked like she could have been in a Playboy magazine. Cinnamon's tits were much bigger, but Darla's body had a svelte, sleek shape that was much mesmerizing. Her Indian skin was unreal, plus she didn't limp." That's an insensitive remark there about limping. Cinnamon was hit by a car when she was a little girl, banged her foot up real bad, so she got a limp. So he's with an imperfect character, let's say. Sensitive sometimes, loud other times. And anyway, a couple of days goes by. He doesn't hear from Aaron. Nobody hears from Aaron. They all wonder where he went. Turns out he went to Peoria by himself, and he got beat up. He was fucking drunk at the time, so he doesn't know what happened. And when Babe went to go check up on Aaron at his house after he found out he got beat up, what happens is his dad meets him at the porch with a shotgun. "Get out of here. You don't come around here no more." Now, Babe also, he likes reading and writing. His English teacher, Miss Taylor, encouraged him to enter an essay contest. And voila, he did win. However, 20 people were winners. There were only 50 people entered. But anyway, he won $100. And so this was right around the Halloween time. And they noticed a short little guy in a bear costume coming through the school. And this goofy looking guy. And it couldn't have been Aaron, because Aaron hasn't been in school. It had to be a guy named Tony Pacino, I think it was what his name was, because he would be the next runt in the school, little short guy. So what happens is all the bullies jump on the bear, start beating the crap out of him. You hear the little muffled crying from inside the bear suit. So they finally take the bear head off. It was Miss Taylor, his teacher. They beat the crap out of her by accident. She had a bloody nose, broke her collarbone. They had to call an ambulance. You never saw Miss Taylor again. Anyway, like I told you, when I told you to plug your ears for a spoiler alert here, Cinnamon, they're back together again. It turns out Cinnamon has got a part in the school drama class. She got a part in Macbeth. She's one of the witches. The witches don't even have a name, so it's not a major part. But they're back together now. Cinnamon wants Babe to show up to the play. But she warns him, don't bring Aaron, because Aaron had started coming, he'd quit school and he's acting erratic. They see him, he's going to the corn chip clubs, dancing into the mosh pit, and he's dancing so hard he's punching people and stuff. Bouncers have to throw him out of the club. He's shaved his head, he's got tattoos. So, Babe is really convinced something's wrong with my friend here. And she tells him, do not bring Aaron to the play. And she's begging him to make sure you come. You're my boyfriend now. We're back together. You've got to come to this play. It's opening night. It's Macbeth. This is important. And you promise you'll come? She said. Of course, he answers. Get there around 6. You can come backstage and see me in the green room beforehand. Green room is not a room that's green. Green room is a room backstage at the theater. It's a lounge where the actors hang out and guests can come and see them. Sure, okay, he says. And she said, reminds him, and whatever you do, don't bring Aaron. I went down to the river around 5 o'clock to pick Aaron up. I was worried about him. So he's bringing Aaron to the play no matter what. That's his buddy. So Aaron is living down in a van by the river. Remember the Saturday Night Live skit? Aaron is really doing this. And again, Babe is wondering what is going on here. And in fact, what Babe does, without Aaron's knowledge, he goes back to the storage facility, goes back to that unit where he had heard the TV before, and he breaks the lock to look in there and wants to know what's going on. Aaron was not in the storage unit, but what was, there's a cot, a bed, television set up. Something's going on. This thing, they're always drinking in corn chips. It was the 80s. The Gen X kids were drinkers back then. Bringing up Mad Dog 2020, that wine. I remember that too from my days. But now there's other 80s books that I've read too, and none of them mention this. Here's another 80s book that I've got. Takes place during the same time frame, different place. Rocking Out on the Main Line by Jeff Schneider, no relation. Of all their getting stoned, drunk, messed up, what I never hear these guys mention, Cold Duck. Remember that drink? A little bottle of some kind of sweet tasting thing. I don't even remember what it was. Maybe some sort of fortified wine. I don't know. Never hear these guys bring that up. It was a poor people's drink. Also, like I said, this one, similar to Corn Chips in that it's an 80s book. It's similar also in tone to, you all heard of Charles Bukowski before, Ham on Rye. In this book, Ham on Rye, the main character goes all the way back to his toddler days when he was so little he could hide under the kitchen table, look at all the adults' legs under. And then the main character goes up to, from the 1920s up to where World War II breaks out. In Corn Chips, we get from the time he enters high school in Glassford until graduation. In graduation, he's sitting at the park. After graduation, sitting at the park, he's assigned to watch concrete dry to make sure nobody vandalizes the concrete. Him and Cinnamon, they meet once more there. It's a good scene at the end of the book. So a good Gen X book. That's a second Gen X book I've had recently. Myself being a Gen Xer, I like seeing these things. And especially here in Corn Chips, has a writing style similar to Bukowski. Bukowski, one of my favorite writers. Okay, so check that one out. Corn Chips, Mather Schneider, brand new.